Let's get back to work again. Yeah, I was sitting here and started thinking about the woman that the Temple of Set Illuminati used to try to mind fuck me into just hideous depression. You're 4 years old. This was the dream of your lifetime. You had conversations and talked about it in Phoenix, and as it always come back up, you felt her presence in Wyoming near going towards Cody when you were being fucked there by the Navy SEAL sexually predicating with everybody on your wife, and you've always felt she was your pot of gold at the end of my rainbow. Yeah, okay, yeah, they did that. Then by the time she got Felix Rodriguez, I was like, yeah, fuck the pot of gold. I'm sick of the fighting for the fucking pot of gold. I just hope these two will stand up for me, with me for the Lord's Prayer, and their kids can live the Lord's Prayer for a long, healthy life, and that I can have a long, healthy life with someone who actually gives a shit whether or not I live or die and how well my family are treated, right? Which makes sense, you just, I don't have any attachments, okay, to my recovery. Okay. I don't sit there and say, I'm going to do it with this person. For all I know, Amy's kids, Noah sat and told me, if you stayed with mom, I would have killed you. Okay. And I was like, okay, well, I love you, son, but I don't know if I want to live next door to you once we're living the Lord's Prayer. You're mean, I don't want to live around people that say, knowing damn well that their mom's a liar and their mom is a cheater and their mom does things, she gets fired from jobs because she'll do things, she tries to be Frank Abagnale, and knowing damn well that dad or whoever was dad, who was, I was listening to that song Brandy by the OJs, and I just changed the lyric. I kind of miss you, Natalie. When are you coming back home? Bought Mama Lucky. And then it was funny because in Albuquerque, she used to say, Mama Malaki, and point at the fridge, right? And I go, Malaki? She'd go, oh, yes. I go, Shinaki? Manaki? No, Malaki, and point at the fridge, right? You know how little girls do. You know what I want, chocolate milk, go get it, right? And I would go, Shinaki? Manaki? And she'd, no, Malaki. It was hilarious. I loved it. You know how parents are. Like I used to do with Patrick, what's your favorite cookie? Clack, click, clip. What's your favorite cookie? Clack, click, clip. What's your favorite cookie? He's not saying that out loud, but in his head, he's saying, are you stupid? Chocolate chip, right? It's funny. Right? And so we go, right? And we have to survive this hell every day, and I'm sitting there thinking, I'll probably call Patrick today and say, is your mom single? Does she need a place to have like a day spa? I could get like a Chinese or Japanese screen and set it across the middle of the room here. We could get her a Murphy bed and set it in here. I could remodel the bathtub and put in a porcelain tub in it so she can soak. That'd be nice for me too, but I can get in and out of the plastic tub and don't have to put the make-believe money into Lowe's or Home Depot to put a porcelain tub in, stuff. But, you just have to think of, I tried to tell Suzuki, finding ways to survive and help people survive. We get her out of Mesa and into this orchard, and I could make it almost into a day spa. I could help her with her diet. She could help me with mine. I could help her exercise. She could help encourage me to exercise too. We could play pickleball. I could laugh at her. We'd go out and dance and tell jokes in the barn. I could take her for walks and tell her, and then sit there and since I know the town, I could drive her to the store and tell her all the time, I'm just driving you to the store, Miss Daisy. We could have a whole hell of a lot of fun. I'm too tired for sexual healing and still too toxic and abused, and she probably is too. So we could just hang out and be friends because we've lived together and we know each other's bathroom habits and just survive hell in a pecan orchard instead of Mesa, Arizona, where it's a carbon emissions cesspool vat from hell, right? So I'll run it by Patrick and see, and I'm not going to sit and tell her, I know you couldn't get child support from me because no lawyer would take the case because it was predicated, your child case was based and predicated off of me getting in the Air Force, and what happened to me with Mr. Jensen and Judge O'Connor and you was illegal. So if you went to court, the case would get redone and thrown out because what happened to me was illegal. Same thing with Amy. I thought, oh, they're being so nice. They're not coming and attacking me for child support. They can. If they took it to court, what happened to me was illegal. Okay. Like those crappy debt collection companies from the student loan people. What the military did through the student loan through the student loan people was illegal. Okay. Whole reason why I am Teflon from lawsuits from Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Barack Obama, the Bushes, is because what they did to me is illegal. And if it went to court, it would be so fucking obvious Kathy Bates could figure it out. Right? And so could Jack Nicholson. That's the biggest ball of yarn in all of Nebraska, in the whole world. Wow. Nice. Winnebago. Okay, do you understand? Van life! Van life! I want a trend doing van life and selling people's products because I live in a van. Right? Fucking nuts, right? I'm surrounded by crazy people. But I was over there talking to Dad, and we got a prayer connection to Rosa Parks. And Rosa Parks is the best, right? Let's go back to those thrilling days of yesteryear. I think it was in Montgomery, Alabama. You ever spent a night in Montgomery, Alabama? I did. It was not nice. There was a woman getting raped in the janitor's closet next to our hotel room. No one thought there was anybody in there because me and Steffi got in late, or they were supposed to be closing up, and got a room. We brought in there, went in, and went to sleep. A girl was being sexually assaulted. I ran out my boxer shorts, pounded on the door, and said, we got to open up, because it was locked. So Steffi was calling the police. We called the police. The deputies department showed up. It was a black cop and a white cop. I'm a vet. I show them my ID like we're supposed to when we deal with the cops, like they tell you in cops in military school. And then they give us a lecture on how it's dangerous and wrong to call in false reports. And while I'm getting that lecture, Steffi's sitting there and grabbing Patrick and putting Patrick back in the Penske, packing up all our stuff out of that motel room that we just paid like $50 for the night. We stayed in there 20 minutes, and she's putting it back in. And then she sits there and she looks at me and she says, we're going straight through to Houston. And you are not even, the only reason, if you have to stop in Mississippi, it's just going to be for gas, right? That's what Steffi tells me, right? And I go, uh-huh. I was so shit-faced fucking tired when we got to Houston. You wouldn't believe it. And all the way from, once we got a little bit past Shreveport, Louisiana, or whatever, and stuff like that, into Houston, we had sheets of rain that I was hydroplaning. And I just got in the center lane and didn't stop for nothing. I was just hydroplaning straight through. And I was like on, awake for 48 hours, just we're driving in on a wing and a prayer. It was whoa, yeah. And we got there, and then my in-laws were so excited they had to take us to a barbecue, and I'm like, you guys go ahead and you gotta show off my son-in-law too. Okay, yeah, it was a harrowing experience and a tough night, but me and Dad connected to Rosa Parks, and let me tell you what happened, because I don't think a lot of people tell the story. They might tell it, the people on the Cosby story, the Cosby Show. We went in there, and we went into those restaurants, and they called us nigger and made fun of us, and now we own those restaurants, and we can sit there and get them fired from their job for calling us nigger. Slave driver, the tables are turned. Catch a fire, it's time you get burned. Just forgive, debt, and trespass, love one, eternal, faithful peace. Everybody's watching and everybody's talking at me, and I don't hear a word they're saying, right? Okay, so when Rosa Parks sat down, she was tired. She sat in the front seat next to the driver. The driver says, you can't sit there. And Rosa says, what am I doing here? He says, you're sitting there. And she says, well, then don't say I can't. He says, listen, you stupid nigger, you can't sit there. And she says, what am I doing here? And he says, you're sitting there. And she goes, well, then don't say I'm stupid and don't say I can't. And the whole back of the bus is laughing their asses off, right? And all the white people, you dumb nigger, you can't sit there. What am I doing here? Sitting there, and you can't sit there. You just said I'm a dumb nigger, and I'm sitting here, and you telling me I can't do it, and I'm doing it, and I ain't getting up, and I'm too tired to move. And if you want me to move, you got to move me your own damn selves, and stop calling me a stupid dumb nigger, you dumb white folks. That's what she said. That's what's happened. Okay? They don't tell you that in Kamala Harris school. They don't tell you that in Michelle Obama school. Right? Because that dumb nigger nearly got herself killed because she didn't care no more. Okay? She was too tired. Y'all either going to have to kill me, like my ex-wife, when she said she used to sit over me and contemplate sticking a kitchen knife between my ribs. And it was during Desert Storm, and we worked 64 days straight, 16-hour days with no days off, and I was so tired I couldn't even hardly move. I got home, got Patrick from her. She said, I hate it here. I hate you. Here's Patrick. Patrick would stay up for 2 hours playing with me. I'd put him to sleep. He'd wake up before I went to work to play with me some more. I only slept for like 4 or 5 hours, and I would sit there, and she would tell me how much she hated it there, how miserable it was, and how horrible it was. And I'm like, you have food, you have a house, and you have TV, and you have Patrick, and you hate it here? I have to go to work with a bunch of murdering assholes sending stuff off to mass murder poor people for a paycheck to justify our existence, and you think you hate it here? What about me? And she said, I sit over you with a kitchen knife contemplating putting your lips. I said, well, do me a favor and shove it right between the part. Here's where the heart is. Shove it in real fast, because as soon as the pain comes in and I go, oh shit, I can go right back to sleeping. I love you, but I can't do any more than I'm doing. Okay? You ever been there? You ever done that? No? What about Matt Damon from fucking Good Will Hunting? He's a pussy face with nice abs and a lot of money, and the only reason he has nice abs is because he got a lot of money. Okay? Stupid ass, you can't sit there. What am I doing? I'm sitting right here. Don't tell me I can't do something when I'm doing it. All right? All right. Damn bear fox. This Brer Rabbit ain't taking your shit no more. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-ay, my, oh my, what a wonderful day. All right?